After a fantastic morning's shooting, it was really time for us to get back to the hotel and make sure that we got some breakfast. We were already running late and we really needed to plan ahead to make sure we got the best opportunity to get some amazing shots. I want to give the guys at the Balakulish Hotel a bit of a shout out here, simply because we were late for breakfast, and actually about 45 minutes late by the time we got back. And Nicola telephoned them and they very kindly plated some breakfast and warmed that up when we got here, and even opened up the bar so that we could come in. The staff here have been fantastic, they're really friendly, it's a lovely hotel. If you are in Glencoe, it's worth giving it a go. I am going to do a longer video on other non-photographic equipment for landscape photography, but it's just a reminder, with the temperatures here so cold overnight, -8, -9, actually we're suggesting it's going to feel like -10. The reality is you have to make sure that you're dressed appropriately. If you're going up into the hills in this weather, literally do not do so without crampons and an ice axe and a little bit of understanding and ability to use them. It's very easy to slip and end up actually travelling a lot of distance before you can bring yourself to a stop. Clothing wise, you see I've got a base layer on here, and then I've actually got a fleece on top of this. I'll then have another layer on top of this and then a shell jacket over, generally speaking. If it's really cold, I'll tend to put a couple of base layers on. Usually use merino wool base layers simply because they wick away moisture, and you don't feel it if you're getting a little bit hot and you do pick up a bit of sweat. And really the key to staying warm is to trap air, and that's where good quality clothing comes in. This Haglof's kind of micro fleece, really lightweight, it's really warm, combined with a base layer, actually in some weather conditions is perfectly fine just having these two on. But it's something to bear in mind. Make sure that you have the equipment for the conditions. It's great being out. I'm a big advocate, as you know, of being out in storms, bad weather, the whole works. But you do have to make sure that you look after yourself. Safety does come first. On that note, I'm going to be safe with a cup of coffee. Meow, meow. What are you doing, cat? Chat with you about one of the things that I do from a compositional perspective, and when I'm scouting, is I take a lot of photos on my phone, and I have an old phone. It's a Samsung Galaxy Note 3. I would have a newer one if Samsung could stop their newer Note phones exploding, and if they were allowed on aircraft. But as it is, I don't have that option, so I take a lot of photos with the phone, and I use that to get some kind of compositional ideas, and I also then usually post-process some of those images in Photoshop and Lightroom Mobile. I also use Snapseed. So I'm going to show you a couple of those images that I took this morning as well, and I'll probably try and do the same thing whilst I'm here. There is a cafe that overlooks Castle Stalker. It's Saturday and unbelievably it's closed, so my plan to have a nice latte and maybe some kind of muffin whilst waiting for the tide to come in is being well and truly foiled. Wow, that sun is bright. There's nothing to be had here. The light's just very, very flat and dull, and the castle really needs to be, because it's so dark, it needs to be on a white background. We have got some snow on the hills, and on the way round the bay I may have another look, but because the tide's out and there's nothing really of interest, there's no great leading lines, there's nothing that's really working for me here, so I'm probably not going to take a shot, to be honest. There's a high tide in the morning, which is at around 7 o'clock, 10 past 7, and that's obviously still pre-sunrise.
with that in mind, I felt it was probably best to try and do a little bit of a recce and have a fly around with the drone and try and find some compositions for the next time that I'm up here in some better conditions and some better light. This little lighthouse, which is at the bottom of Loch Linnhe, is always a great focal point for me, and I've got a couple of ideas for some fantastic aerial shots of this at high tide, and also looking to try and find a couple of angles to shoot this from the ground with a traditional digital SLR. The biggest problem is with lots of these shots is that where you have lighthouses that are in the distance, you really only have the choice of shooting these with a longer focal length, and that's really for safety. You can't always go in and get in close for the risk of the tide coming in and cutting you off. I found a couple of angles that I really liked here, and I really can't wait to shoot this again, although I did take a shot here which I actually quite like at the same time. This is a fantastic spot, I can't wait to come back again.
I got a few images with the drone, and also I did take a few shots with the camera as well. We got a quick break of light. We're not in the perfect position, but this was literally the only way that there was any light coming remotely near the castle. And I still had to get the drone up and push it far left, as you can see where the sun is setting over there, and we've got a little bit of light there. So I'm happy with that. I know some of you guys are not fans of the drones, and I understand that, but it's just another way to position a camera. It's not all about video, you can do stills with them. Admittedly, the Phantom 3s, they're not great, and I kind of keep that around because it's a compact drone, so it doesn't take a lot to carry it around if you're going up into the hills. But we'll have to have a look and see what those images are like. Some images are better than none, it's as simple as that. So that's it for now. It's pretty cold, I need to get back to the car, get a jacket. We've got an hour before sunset, and I really need to try and find another couple of shots to make this a very worthwhile and productive day. Beautiful castle though. I've come away from Castle Stalker simply because, even though there's been a little bit of light coming on there and there's still time for a couple of shafts of light to come through, in reality I'm not going to get the shot that I want, because with high tide not being until 7 o'clock, I was trying to guesstimate how much water would have come back in by sunset, and the reality is it's not enough. There's not going to be enough water for the image that I would like to create there, so I'm not going to take it. I mean, it's been a worthwhile recce mission, and as I say, probably got a little bit from the air that's okay, and also a little bit of footage, video footage that's okay, not amazing. But it's been a worthwhile recce mission, and again it's going to be looking at the tide times for another time and coming back in the right light with the right tide, and then I think I'll be happy once I've got the shot. I've got it in my head, I just have to be patient and wait for it for another return journey up here. There's an hour before sunset. I'm heading back towards Glencoe, and I'm going to try and find something around there, maybe around the Three Sisters. I'm going to have to try and have a look at where the light's positioned. I did do this last night on the photographer's ephemeris. I did do the position for sunrise, but off the top of my head I can't completely recall the sunset positions at a few different locations that I have in mind. So let's just drive and go and do it and see what we get. There's absolutely nothing to lose.
Snow-capped mountaintops hit you in the chest like a sledgehammer with every twist and turn of the A82 through Glencoe. It's possibly one of the best driving roads in the whole of the UK, and is probably unparalleled in its scenery. That said, the snow that was present on the grounds now would probably be gone within the next 24 hours. With the weather forecast showing a significant rise in temperatures, it was imperative that we maximise the opportunity to squeeze as many snow and ice covered shots out of this fantastic scenery as we possibly could before the opportunity left us and it was time to head back home.
I've just spotted, sorry about this, there we go. I've just spotted some circles of ice that have drifted across the top of this water here, which looks fantastic. The light's gone almost, but there's enough interest here and enough low cloud to be getting some detail within the ice. So I'm going to shoot some shots here now. It's trying to get a decent composition. Had to leave the car and jump out of the car some distance away. I probably could do with a slightly wider lens than 24mm, but I don't have my gear with me. It was stuck in the boot of the car. So let's just work with what we've got. I've just worked this from a couple of different angles, trying different positions with the ice rings in the middle of my frame and composition. Still a bit of light over there and reflection. It's whether or not I can find something else, a different composition. Just keep working, keep adjusting the angles, moving the tripod up and down, get the camera lower, so you find something that you're really happy with. I better crack on. Definitely got a couple of shots there, I think, which is good. Good. Would have been nicer a little bit earlier with a little bit more light. The snow's quite deep. We are at about 95% cloud cover. Sunset's been and gone. That's pretty much it for today. Just nipped out for a last shot of Blackrock Cottage. The mist's descended over Etive and it's the kind of shot that I love. I'm going to underexpose a little bit, try and darken that sky off, maybe have to do an exposure blend. Give me 2 minutes. I've put a lens hood on, however we've still got some raindrops that have got blown into the actual lens itself, so little tip, always check before taking your shot. I'm shooting at f11 and I have around a 2-second exposure. Well, I know that I did say that there's always time for one more shot, and that was it. We're now done. It's time to get in the car and get ourselves away and get a little bit more warmed up. It's been a pretty good day.
Scotland never ever disappoints, especially when there's snow on the ground. It's been an amazing time. Don't forget to subscribe into this channel to keep track of new episodes as and when they're coming out. There's also lots more content on Instagram and also Snapchat, where you can find me as Dan Pearson Photo. You can also find me on Facebook as Dan Pearson Photography, so take a look at those if you guys get a chance. Once again, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys again shortly. Take care.